listen, what's going on, y'all? It's BMOC. You're now tuned into BMOC.TV. Tonight, actually, I'm Cousin Jeff. Okay? This is BT Team Summit. We're talking about some serious topics out here in the community. Ananda Lewis, unfortunately, is not here tonight, so I'm going to carry on without her. We're talking about responsibility in hip-hop. We want you guys to kind of be a part of it. If you have comments, please make sure you put them in the chat. We're going to discuss some serious topics. I'm joking, y'all. But tonight is about responsibility in hip-hop and entertainment. So we're going to talk about some things that kind of been going on and to see, should we hold our hip-hop artists accountable for the things that they're saying that they're doing, all right? So we'll get into it. Okay, so let's get into the best, greatest co-host around the planet. The Shyness Man, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, world? How you doing? We are back. We got a fully loaded cast ready to dive into another great topic. What better place than to hear it here and have the debate about the responsibility in hip-hop. So we're running from no topics. We're taking off fades. So let us be known tonight. We going in.
Be going in, pause.
No pause.
Not going in. Donita, say something to the people, Donita. What's up? We can't hear you, Donita. We can't hear you. I got a bar for that too. I got a bar for Donita's headphones. I got a bar for Donita's headphones. Donita's headphones are too old right now. Let's move on to Tyra real quickly. We'll go back to Donita. Tyra, say something to the people, Tyra. What's going on?
Hey, everybody. Another Sunday. Let's get it.
Even giving Sunday. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, the hip-hop historian, my brother. Say what's up to the people.
What's going on? Sack in here. Ready to dive into it. It's going to be another dope show. Showing the versatility, everything that, all the aspects of hip-hop, we're going to dive into. So,
okay.
Come on, let's get it.
Let's do it. I got my main man, Trevor. Let's pop it. The Dipset hat is fire, my brother. Fire.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Here's up to the people, man.
It's real. I'm coming live from my nephew and my son's room. That's how real it is. You know what I'm saying? I got to find a quiet place. This is the quiet place there is. Let's get it right. But I'm really excited about the dialogue. The dialogue is extremely important. And let's tackle the topic. I'm ready.
I feel you. I'm in my son's room right now, so I completely feel you. Also, too, out there, we're having a BMOC TV cipher in 2 weeks. Where we're going to be, it's kind of like, not anything too serious, more kind of a wild style, wild and out Nick Cannon type of thing. And we all going to have some bars, you know what I'm saying? So I told them already to don't diss me. Y'all going to see a whole other side of BMOC, okay?
I ain't talking about Jimmy.
I'm waiting on it.
About Dan.
And I'm telling y'all, don't do it. Tyra, you too. I got something for you, Tyra. Don't do it, Tyra.
I'm first, so I'm just first. I'm first. I'm not dissing nobody. It's gonna be real quick, and I just want to see somebody diss you so I can laugh.
Okay. Wait. We have two Donitas. This is like Family Matters. We saw Stefan and Steve. Which one's the porta potty one? Which one's the? How about the porta potty? Turn my swag on.
Really?
Donita, give it to the people, Donita. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm experiencing technical difficulties, but this is my backup, and then I'll be switching devices. So, hey.
All right. So let's kick it off. So in recent events, Kendrick Lamar had a song called Humble. Shout out to Mike Will, Sound from Ear Drummers, where he said on the line something about, he's tired of the Photoshop. He wants the girls with the stretch marks and all that stuff. And so he was doing it to kind of like, I thought he was doing it to kind of empower women. He's like, you don't have to necessarily be beautiful to be, you have to be Photoshopped to be beautiful. You just be your natural self. And so in that, as usual, his remarks were taken completely the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And people were like, oh, he's policing women's bodies. He's being dismissive. He's being divisive. All these words that we like to use to like create a narrative. So he's under attack. So y'all loved Kendrick last year. He was the man. He was super pro-black, conscious brother, complexion, all that. And now that it took one part of a song, they making it whatever. So we were talking about it in the group. And Trevor brought up a good point about us having a discussion about hip-hop and responsibility. How responsible do our artists have to be when they're creating art? You know what I'm saying? So I'll kick it off. I want Trevor to go next. And when I get to Shyness, then Drew, then Tyra did not either. Me personally, so I'm torn in this topic, right? For me, it will be great if hip hop artists took responsibility for what they said. You know, you're making money off of talking about trapping, or you're talking about sexing on women and all that, right? And I feel like the best thing for you to do would be to tell the truth and to be honest and to always know what you put out there in the universe. But then a part of me is like, I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, a part of me is like, it's entertainment. These people shouldn't be raising our kids. And if we're gonna put hip hop in that light, so Sylvester Stallone be doing a PSA when he's shooting people up? Should Arnold Schwarzenegger be doing a PSA when he's blowing somebody away with a gun? Should, you know, all these R&B groups, Freak Me Baby, Love Me Baby, should they be saying, oh, as long as it's consensual, I can freak you? You know what I'm saying? Like let's groove tonight. I mean, let's groove tonight. Oh, who you grooving with? You know what I'm saying? Is she okay with the groove? You know, it's like, I'm just saying, like, we put hip hop in this light of, like, you know, Jay-Z, when there's a march, Jay-Z has to be in this march, or Nas needs to donate to sex victims. But what about, you know, Taraji P. Henson? What about Terrence Howard? Do any of these people have a responsibility? It's like, I feel like it gets to a point where it's like, why can't we let people just create art? And then as people who have kids, who have family, why can't we educate our people? Like, it's nice that they do it. It's nice that they do it. But if they don't, like, should we put them under fire or whatever? So that's how I feel off the bat. Trevor, give me your thoughts on that and just your whole thoughts in general on the subject.
Well, hip hop initially just started off as like a counterculture, you know what I'm saying, for disenfranchised people. But what became of it is the number one culture in the world, right? So with that comes great responsibility. It can't be avoided. Like, I don't think it's something you even have an option of saying it's not a responsibility. You can't be the number one culture in the world and not have responsibility. And I always use this as an example. If you're driving up to a light, right, and you hear somebody playing country music, right? You pull up to the car next to it to the left, you know it's a white person, right? You pull up and you hear mariachi music, right? You know the person's Hispanic, right? But when it comes to hip hop music, if Future's playing, you don't know who you about to pull up to. It could be a white, Mexican, Asian, any kind of person, because it's the most powerful poppin' culture there is.
It's probably Tyra. Sorry.
No. So when something has that much power to where now it's not a subculture, a concentrated.
I mean, go ahead, Trevor.
It's not a counterculture. Not a counterculture anymore of a concentrated group of people, but it's actually the music of the world now. So with that being said, there has to be some kind of, you can't use the I'm not a role model, I don't have an effect on the kids, I don't have an effect on the culture, because we all know that stuff.
Right, but also keep it to the point too about everybody else. Like, what about Arnold Schwarzenegger? What about, you know, Genuine?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about all these other people?
Sure. Now, the big part about that to me is when I talk about responsibility, all I can really talk about is my culture, right? So for me, I can't speak on the effect Marilyn Manson has on a suburban white kid, because I haven't witnessed it. All I could speak to is the effect that music, which is my music, that's my culture. I fully embrace it. It doesn't matter what genre of music is my favorite music at the moment, at the time. I know what genre raised me, and I know what culture I still belong to. And that's the culture who I'm most concerned about being managed.
Okay, cool. I'm feeling it. Deshaunus, man, give me your thoughts. What's going on? What's popping?
Yeah, so both of you guys mentioned some very important things. One, you know, Walter talking about kind of the global nature of music in general and entertainment and the responsibility. But, you know, we become very specific, you know, and a key word that Trevor used was disenfranchised, which means that you're starting from a place, right? It's originating kind of in the cellar. And part of the thing is, it's like that, those crabs in a bucket, right? Like, so if you're making it out based on reporting back from what's going on in this bucket, in this habitat, then part naturally is for you to want to do something to help us come out, because you're telling the world how disenfranchised we are, what the struggle is like. And so if you're not going to also then reach back and kind of try to change the situation, then you become the culture vulture, right? Culture vulture is being used for the Justin Timberlakes and people that are not black that do quote unquote black
Justin's
music.
black. Justin Timberlake's black.
Okay, whatever you want to say.
Somebody else.
But that's what people use it for, right? And it's used to describe people who essentially aren't black that imitate black music. But for me, culture vulture means that you are painting a picture of an environment that you had no part in, right? So if I never sold drugs and I never shot guns and I represent myself as doing so, not necessarily saying this is what I saw growing up, right? But this is what I've done, then I'm, vulturing that culture. So in essence, it's like there's responsibility, because if you're saying I come from this disenfranchised stuff and it's terrible, then it's your responsibility to also then flip it and show me what the flip side is like, right? Like T.I., I think, does a great job of showing that range that says, yeah, I'm going to also promote myself as being one of the biggest trap stars, but I'm also very open and transparent about what that can get you and how is a better side that I want to have, right? So everybody doesn't have to do that, but ultimately, I think there's some responsibility, whether it be through your art or through your actions to the culture, because it ain't always through your art. You can rap and make music about whatever you want to, and sometimes people do off mic, off camera, their works, but I think there's some responsibility to reach back and bring those people out and show them a different light. Otherwise, you used them and kept them where they were.
Let me ask you a question. So Wesley Snipes, right? I think besides I think besides Drew, everybody's seen New Jack City, right?
Yeah.
which to me is terrible. I don't know.
I think it's highway whack too.
Okay. So New Jack City. So you're seeing him play a character called Nino Brown, who is selling, crack and drugs to the community. There's violence. He's shooting people. This Wesley Snipes has a responsibility to the community to do other positive works to offset that image he portrayed in New Jack City.
No, he just need to pay his taxes.
Now, keep in mind, Wesley Snipes, he's part of the black community. There's hip hop music in New Jack City. It's a whole theme. He's actually not just talking about, because he's showing you how to shoot somebody, how to sell drugs. Does he have a responsibility to do something?
One quick comment is this. Oh, sorry. The flip side to that is, in a movie, it's clearly that it's a character, right? But then the character has repercussions. The character's shot, the character's in prison, the character dies. So there's some sort of climactic end that shows that this necessarily isn't the way to go, as opposed to if Jay-Z's just the successful drug dealer forever, and this is just how you get here, and just sell rocks and then come do this, and there's no anti-climactic, like, then it's just this is what kids gonna do.
Trevor and then Donita.
Okay. Well, the other thing is, we know how many Nino Brown bars there are in hip hop music, right? But anyway,
That's true.
the difference in that is, like, when Wesley Snipes does that movie, all I'm saying is, when he does that movie, he can't pretend like that's not going to have an effect on the culture. Now, how he sleeps at night with it is cool. I'm not even judging him for it. I watched it. I mean, I'm not a fan of that movie, but I love Boys in the Hood. I love Menace to Society. But when you do those movies, you do have to acknowledge that you've affected the culture and people. You can't walk away from that. You can't step away from it. That's all I'm saying about that subject.
But does it have? I want to ask Anita. Does it have to be a negative impact? Because for me, I watch Boys in the Hood and New Jack City and all these movies, and I'm like, wow, I really don't want to be in the projects. Like, I really don't want to be in the streets. Like, I don't want to die, like Nino Brown. I don't want to, be like Ricky and get shot in an alley. Like, so for me, the influence was like, I'm glad I'm seeing that. I never want to go to California. I never went to California. I mean, obviously that changed. Whatever. I was out in LA. I was at my third home, but I lived in Harlem. I lived like right by the block they shot in New Jack City. So, because I also saw Boomerang too, and wanted to be, do the Eddie Murphy thing, in the movie. I don't know what he does outside of Johnny Gill. But what I'm saying, I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't know. Why you say whoa? It's all the culture. But no, what I'm saying is, when I watch those movies, it made me not want to be in those situations. That's what I'm trying to say. So you know, but go ahead. So Anita, how do you feel about what they said and all that? So.
Okay, so two things. First of all, to answer your last question, I think this is where consumer responsibility comes into play. You know, I'm with you. Saw Boys in the Hood, had no desire for that lifestyle. You know, there's a ton of movies that I've watched and I just don't have a desire to do those things because I saw them. Yep. So, you know, again, I'm on the side of it's still the consumer's responsibility to make a decision after that point. Now, to add on to that, one question that came to my mind, mostly I guess for Deshaunus and Trevor, is that why do we think that every trap star wants to actually help? Us having that assumption up front could be part of the problem. Like some folks, they're really out here just to get theirs and keep it moving. So to even say that somebody has that responsibility could be part of the problem with the conversation. Yeah. And at the same time, us putting it onto somebody else's plate could be part of the problem with that. So that's why, again, I'm on the side of consumer responsibility. Right. If I watch Reading Rainbow, now I want to read some books, great. If I, watch, Lord, I can't even think of nothing else. But anywho, if I watch anything else or I intake anything else, it's still up to me about my next step.
So to talk about the first part is, so it's very easy, like when you talk about Walter and the California picture, or you got to talk about that. It's a lot easier when you're removed, right? I'm here in this city. California looks dangerous. I wouldn't want to do anything they're doing. But what about the people who grew up in California? What about the little kid that was getting bullied on the block that was like, maybe if I align myself with the Bloods or the Crips, then I can be cool like this kid. Like, so when that's what I'm talking about, the folks that are in the trenches. It's like if you have someone who suffers with depression and they don't really know how to deal with it, but then they join the group and people start cutting. Well, now I didn't know cutting was an option until I didn't know how cutting was an option until you told me cutting was an option. So if I'm growing up in the hood and I have dreams of being a basketball player and I watch LeBron James until I listen to Pusha T, I'm like, oh, it's another way. I can be the biggest drug dealer. And so I think Trevor's going to take this part, but it's not necessarily their responsibility to help, but to have accountability to say, I impact that community.
Okay, so even if they say it, does that do anything? Because I guess my thing is it still comes back to the person who takes that in. Now, not saying that if that's all your environment is, then I understand what you're saying. It's unfortunate because that's all you get to see. That's all you get to take in. And I guess that's where, and I think I saw it, Mike J.M. Carey just said it, parenting is important.
Absolutely.
As a parent, as a parent, my child takes in Caillou. It's a cartoon. Caillou and Peppa Pig. I can't stand Peppa Pig. You know what I'm saying? Like Peppa Pig has a little bit of an attitude. I'm not a fan.
Peppa Pig gets no run.
Right. So I'm not a fan of that because I know that attitude that little pig has could impart into my child, and now I got to jack her up because she want to walk around here thinking she Peppa Pig. So as a parent, my job is then to kind of shield some of those things. Now, it is unfortunate. There are situations, circumstances out here where people don't have anybody. And so they don't have anybody parenting them. They don't have an aunt and uncle or a big brother or big sister or anybody out there. But at the same time, everybody still does have one choice before they make that next step. So I'm not saying, everybody's going to have the best situation, best scenario, but everybody still has that one choice right before they make that decision.
Exactly. I want to ask Cyrus something. So we're talking about hip hop, but what if my whole thing is in general? Hold on. Let me get to it. What about all these R&B groups with the R&B groups with the Freak Me Baby, Let Me Love You Down, all that? So the R&B groups, should they be putting out songs saying, oh well, bump and grime if you have wearing protection, or bump and grime if you're in a community relationship? Like what R&B guys, they're from our community too. Do they have a responsibility to say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So two
Walter,
things. One,
honestly, okay. I'm sorry, Trevor. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Was that
one consumer?
That wasn't Tyra. That wasn't
Trevor. No.
That's what I thought.
I mean Tyra. It's like Trevor and Tyra. It's the same amount of letters.
No, so Tyra, go ahead.
It's also with T.
No, go ahead.
Tyra.
Go first. I'll go after. Go ahead, Trevor. You was already talking. I don't want to disturb you.
Okay, go ahead, Trevor. Okay. Dipset.
One consumer responsibility to me is not a real thing. I think it's a cop-out. Like, Consumer responsibility for especially to the population of people who we're talking about who are affected by this music. That's not a real thing for them. Like, we can't put that, like, so we're telling we're going to put the responsibility on the 14-year-old instead of the 30-year-old rapper, R&B singer. That's not a real thing. Consumer responsibility.
Okay, I have a rebuttal for that.
Go ahead, Tyra. Rebuttal. Let's get it.
Okay.
And I got one too after her.
I got one too. How about that?
And then we got to get Drew in here too.
Yeah, Drew's going to come with rebuttal too. Good, Tyra.
Okay, first of all, if your child is 14, that means your child is a minor. That means you have control over everything that your child
That's not real, though.
Hold on, Trevor. Let her get her bars off. Hold up. Let her get her bars off. Let her get her bars off. Go ahead, Tyra.
Let me finish. Okay. In my household, my mom did not buy no CD unless it was the edited version. We won't hear no cuss words. We won't hear nothing.
Will Smith.
It would be blank. So it's not going down, in my household. And I think that we shouldn't put so much responsibility on these celebrities because these celebrities are not raising our children.
Thanks.
If a celebrity is raising a child,
they are.
That is a problem. If a celebrity is raising a child, for example, since we are talking about R&B, Beyonce, when she's on stage, she's Sasha Fierce. She's not the same person that she is at home, and she got a lot of backlash for talking about sex with her own husband, even though she's married with the child. They still gave her backlash for that. Watermelon. First of all, you shouldn't even know what watermelon is if you are 14, 15 years old. If you know what it is, we got a problem. That's a problem right there. But block it. Block. You can block anything. You can block anything. You can block anything. I'm telling you. I blocked my son from mommy finger, daddy finger because I don't want to hear it. I mean, you can block anything. You can block anything. I'm not holding no celebrity or nobody from raising my child. If my child wants to see it, and they will see it, I'm not saying that they won't. It's up to me to explain to my child, okay, this is right, this is wrong. I'm not going to leave that up to a celebrity. You may like them, but you're not about to walk in my house talking about trap music. I can talk about trap music, but you can talk about trap music. Wait until you get older and learn the difference in what is reality versus what is not reality. They're making money. You're not making no money. You live in my house. So obviously you're broke. You're not doing anything.
Exactly. Unless you bow wow, you can do that. Donita didn't shot us. Go ahead, Donita. You go first.
So, and I mean, to continue on with a little bit of what Tyra said, really it comes back down to, even if I block the whole world, my child still has to step out into the society. So it is still my job inside the home to do what I have to do. So when she walks outside of the home, she's out there being an upstanding citizen. Now, again, I'm not talking about everybody. I understand, Trevor, a little bit that's not some people's reality, but for some of us, it actually is. For me, I'm sorry, I grew up in a 2-parent home. It wasn't going down like that. It just wasn't. Like, there were certain rules and regulations, stuff that I couldn't do. Now, was there things that I snuck past my parents? Absolutely. But at the same time, I still had enough ingrained in me to know what was right from wrong, to do this, to do that. And I also knew that there was a consequence to my actions. So if I did decide to make a bad choice, I knew something was coming down the pipeline. So all I'm saying is that as far as parenting or corralling in that situation when it comes to minors, it's not that I can't blame Beyonce, I can't blame Future, I can't blame nobody else if my child decides to do X, Y, and Z.
Go ahead, Drew. I agree with Donnie what she said and what Tyra just said. I agree. Go ahead, Drew.
Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
But I think it goes back to the whole thing with the disenfranchised thing, because when you disenfranchise, what happens? Kids are at home by themselves, right? So if you go home and when you get to the house, you get to listen to whatever music you want to, you get to watch what you want. Then you don't have that parent at home that's known what you've been doing that 4 or 5 hours they was home by themselves. So, like, for instance, like you said, Donnie, when you had a 2-parent home, me and Trev, we had a 2-parent home too. I can speak for like this personal example for myself. When I was young, the Chronic was huge, right? But it was even crazier, being in California. And Snoop had the white Chronic hat, and I knew vaguely what weed was. I didn't know what it looked like in the plant form. So I didn't know that Snoop's hat was a chronic leaf. And I remember I told my mom that I wanted that hat. And, she explained to me, why I can't have it. But I had that luxury. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of kids don't. When you're dealing with music, right? So you look at rappers have huge influence on fashion. They have a huge influence on the way people talk, politically, and all those things, right? So if we give Chuck D and Nas and Tupac, all these guys, political influence to say they influence kids in this way, or if you look at guys who push the culture forward fashion-wise or entrepreneur-wise, you can't disregard the negative energy of it as well. It's all inclusive. So we can't say, oh yeah, well they influence fashion, culture, politics, but when it comes to violence and misogyny, they don't have any.
Hands off.
You know what I'm saying? It's all inclusive. And
Agreed.
And so we can't pick and choose what part of it is influential, because like Sheriff said, it's the not only is it hip hop is the culture, universal, but it's also for the youth. And there's been other forms of music in the past where before hip hop, where the voice of the youth was also gets the same questions as hip hop. Reggae got the same backlash because the thugs, like how rappers would get looked at, would be like in Jamaica, like the Rasta. They smoked weed. They were from the worst parts of Jamaica. They were looked at as the thugs. If you look at it, take it out of black music, you go to punk culture in the underground scene in London during the 70s. That had a huge backlash as far as how parents looked at it and the influence, that music and those influence had on their kids. So I think even more than it being a hip hop thing or a racial thing, it's anytime youth want to rebel, those artists like whether it's the Ramones or Bob Marley or Tupac, they have that influence universally, and you can't separate the two. Because I feel like
Jimmy,
also,
would you have a rebuttal for you?
Can I add to that?
I want to say one more thing as a rebuttal. I was going to say, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Are we really?
Everybody has influence, though.
Hold up. That's what I'm saying. Before there was commercial music, hold up. Before there was commercial music, people been shooting. People been having drugs, slavery.
Right.
Hold up. Hold up. What mixtape was Christopher Columbus listening to? I want to know. No, hold on. Tell me.
I agree with that.
Let me put my bars off. What mixtape was Pharrell Ramsey? This is all rhetorical questions, Deshaun. What were they listening to? They were not listening. There's been violence. There's been drug use. There's been rape. Okay, the slave owners weren't listening to hip hop music, and they were raping our great grandmothers. Right. At some point, art reflects life. Life reflects art. Okay.
So,
hold on. It is problematic and unrealistic for every single entertainer to have some type of as soon as you put a movie out, you gotta do something positive. Or as soon as you put on hip hop, because listen, you say hip hop's part of the community. I get that, but if you say hip hop is a part of our community, that's great. But I also was watching.
It is the community.
That's fine. That's fine. I also was watching Batman, and I wanted to hit my cousin in the chest because I saw Batman hit somebody in the chest. I also watched Power Rangers and kick my best friend because I saw Jason kick Tommy. So I didn't do anything. Let me get my bars off. So I didn't smoke weed. I didn't, sell drugs. I didn't do anything in the hip hop community, but I did kick my friend in the chest. That's how Power Rangers do it. So you can't pinpoint which parts of culture is going to have an effect on you or not. I'm dead serious. So it's unrealistic. The whole thing is unrealistic at all. It's I got one more. I'm not used about the whole discussion. It's not about you. But one more bar. Hip hop did not start with Chuck D. Okay, it started with the hip hop, the hip to the hip of the hop, with guys rhyming on disco beats, getting high in Studio 56 or 57 or whatever you call it. That's 54. My bad. That's where it started from. It didn't start from KRS-One. Sorry, KRS-One. It didn't start with this super preachy hip hop. It started from coked out people rhyming on beats, which is dope. I love the get down. It's dope. All those guys are on dope. That's what we. So what I'm saying is that we can't just pinpoint one part of entertainment. Let's pinpoint all of it. And when you pinpoint all of it, you then realize you can't pinpoint it. You can't really say
but that's the thing. But let's go back to what Deshaun said earlier too. Like, so when you, because this one thing what rappers do, right? Because they want for the most part, even if you're not even a gangster rapper, like even if you're a conscious rapper, every rapper wants to say that what they're talking about is really how they are. This is really where I came from. This is what I do. This is what my people around me do. This is legit. You know what I'm saying? So it's sold as real life. If you watch an interview, I'm the realest dude out here. Period. That doesn't happen. That happens.
To me. Not to me. I don't want a chronic hat.
Listen, but this is the thing. So, but like Deshaun said earlier too, when you watch a movie, it comes on as credits. Okay, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. This isn't whatever the dude's name in Terminator 2 is. And you watch it like you watch Paid in Full, and in the beginning it is dope when they go to the club and it's lit. But then you see at the end when you get your little brother's fingers in the mail and you're getting shot and your friends are turned on, you see the repercussions. When you listen to a Biggie album, where is the? That's why Reasonable Doubt was so celebrated, because Jay-Z was one of the first rappers who talked about the street life and also showed the repercussions and other sides of things you deal with mentally, things that come back to you in the bad part of the game. A lot of people don't do that, and all it is, I'm the realest dude out here. This is how I live. I'm really smacking dudes. I've got all these women. I'm lit up. I'm hot, and I'm not saying but this is the thing. Whether or not an athlete or an entertainer or whatever wants to be, nobody sign up to be a role model, but it's all inclusive. Like I'm saying, like you can't separate certain things. When you're bigger than life, you can't be like, oh well, don't believe that I say.
Yeah.
That's not even realistic. That's stupid. That's not even realistic. Little kids back in the 90s when Mortal Kombat came out in the 90s, everybody had a problem with that because everybody's kids want to run around and try to be a ninja. Like kids are influenced by stuff. You can't say that's not a real thing. Okay. Now again, then that goes back to the parent.
But Drew,
don't let him play Mortal Kombat. Don't let him watch wrestling.
Okay, let's ask this question. And I'm gonna go ahead.
Because I want you to address this too. So 3 quick points. One, and I think it's very important here. So I would love it if entertainers gave back, but I think Trevor said very clearly, just acknowledge you are responsible for the influence. So even if you say, I understand, kid. Well, I'm gonna say,
let's get bars off.
Yeah. Go ahead. Even if you understand and say, yes, I understand that my music has an effect on the youth. Even if you say I don't want to do nothing about it, but we can't act like I'm just spitting bars, man. If kids listen to it, they don't affect how they live. Like that's kind of negligent.
It's not real.
But
it's not a real thing.
But they're gonna buy the sneakers you got on in the video because they influence.
Exactly. Here are the 2 quick points. So one, I believe BMOC who said it's unrealistic. One, we talked about the whole influence of politics and voting. And people were being written off. Like we talked about this whole performance for Trump and all that. I'm just the entertainer. Why do we give her a hard time for performing for Trump? She's the entertainer. Why do we care? Why do we care who people vote for Hillary or not? If all I do is make music, but then when politics come around, you trying to cut out of people. What? It's just entertainment. It's not, because it's an influence of the people. Secondly, I'm pretty sure Tupac episode, you talk about the influence that Pac had in starting this East Coast, West Coast rhetoric, and he had this influence. Negatively, you spoke about Pac doing that. But this ain't real life, though. He didn't have no influence. Pac didn't shoot nobody in the East Coast, West Coast beat. He don't control everybody from California and New York. When it's that, you want to give credit. But then when you want to have everybody else, it's pulling a hand off the thing. So I want you to address that because I think you're playing both sides of the fence.
Sure. I would love to.
Different what you do in your personal life, though.
Let me address it.
So I got one too.
So there's a difference between art and life. Okay? Tupac didn't get arrested on a song. He got arrested in real life. Okay? Tupac was shooting people in music. Somebody shot Tupac in real life. So when you talk about Tupac in magazine interviews or in radio interviews saying to, retaliate and rat on my enemies outside of the songs, that's the influence you carry on to real life. I'm not saying that Tupac. Hold up. Let me ask you a question. There's a difference between Tupac saying, hit him up in a song versus him actually stomping people out in a casino. This dude was actually doing violent things outside of music. So yes, That influence transcends the art at that particular time. So no. You want to use Pac? Let's talk about Tupac. Let's talk about Tupac. Let's talk about it. So we're gonna. So no. You said about Tupac and speaking about his influence in the East Coast, West Coast. What I'm saying is that he literally was beating people up.
On the West Coast.
No. I'm just in totality. Tupac was doing violent acts outside of music. That is a fact. That is a fact.
This stretch is tough.
No, it's not a stretch. No, it's not a stretch. Okay, so there's that video evidence of Tupac stomping somebody out in the casino.
Video evidence of a lot of rappers doing a lot of things.
Exactly.
He asked me about Tupac. Let's stick to the topic. No, let's stick to the topic.
Tupac Hillary vote too.
Absolutely.
I
would love to. So when you have an entertainer backing any politician, right? That means an entertainer's voice carries weight, right? Based upon a amount of things. There's some artists who used to say, like Young Jeezy, I love Jeezy's music. I don't really want to hear his views on, abortion clinics. You know what I'm saying? Then there's people like Common, like, Common music is dope now, but I want to hear Common's opinions about politics. It's about the entertainer. So it depends on who you're talking about. We can't put entertainers under one blanket reasoning saying, you can't say I really want to hear Bow Wow stance on politics. Right? It's like so it's different entertainers for different things. So you can't put a blanket use for all artists around the world. That's not how it works. It's not how it works.
So the problem is Jeezy says he's the snowman, but he's really not. Yeah. And Tupac actually will slap you when he said he will.
Let me ask you a question. That's the problem. Let me ask you a question. Let's everybody a question real quick. I want everybody to answer this.
I'm ready.
Okay. How can you determine what an artist is supposed to do to shoulder that responsibility? If I'm Young Jeezy, I say, you know what? I'm Young Jeezy, and I hired 40 people from my community. I gave them jobs. I gave them salaries to support their kids. Yeah, I'm not doing any, stay free, say no to drugs campaign, but I did hire 50 people. I did put money in their pocket. Is that giving back to your community? If I'm Jay-Z and I put all of my people I was doing drugs with back in the day in powerful positions to not only affect their community, to feed their kids, to feed their babies, moms. Isn't that my responsibility? So I can give you a PSA. Hold on. Let me finish. I can give you a PSA. I can go on Oprah, but guess what? I actually gave this guy a salary. A guy that could have went to jail last week, but instead he's working for me. That's a responsibility. That's real talk. Yeah. So how can we as fans dictate what these people do?
We're not dictating. We never said that.
Acknowledge you influence it. We didn't say
exactly. Jay-Z, you said Jay-Z. And Jay-Z even said with the Shauna quarter earlier.
I'm ready for the how. You want the how?
I don't want the how. I just want to know how they're supposed to do that. That's all I want to know.
It's my turn.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you how. Listen. Us in the California, Northern California Bay Area, we witnessed a subculture of hip hop firsthand that set the city on fire, was lit, and there was hundreds of people murdered because of that movement, the hyphy movement. That's a real thing. That can't be avoided and say it's just music. We saw the influence.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw the influence in our neighborhood. You can't kick to me that Mac Dre was just rapping God Bless the Dead Mac Dre. I got a Dipset hat on, so I got to say God Bless the Dead. But there's no way Mac Dre says, well, man, I put my homie on and he was going to kill people, but he didn't. I'll be like, oh, that's cool that you did that for him. No, that's great. I didn't say you're a terrible person, but you better acknowledge that there's bodies in these streets.
Hold on.
I still didn't hear that. No.
But either they don't, Anita. This is the thing. We can't act like it doesn't happen. All my point is we can't act like it's not a real influence. Like it is. Whether we want to or not, you can't.
Y'all sounding bad.
You can't not acknowledge.
Y'all sound mad. Dolores Tucker right now.
So let me go back. Let me go back.
Get a pot. No, it's just Pops against censorship. Pops was against censorship. Go ahead, Donita.
So let me go back real quick because I sat here quietly trying to listen and I took notes on my phone. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. No, because I wanted to hear all sides.
That's a droid. And wherever see a droid put up, I know some serious stuff about to go down. When people pull a droid up. So this is my concern, because I'm still, again, I haven't been swayed any other way about this consumer responsibility part. I really haven't been, but I do understand that if folks have not been taught, or if folks don't know, then that responsibility part changes up for them. So I get it. I hear you. I do also agree, Drew, one thing you said about both the positive effects and the negative effects. If both of those things happen, then it's still an influence. I agree on that as well. But again, I'm still stuck on how are people supposed to tell you as an entertainer, hey, I'm responsible, but here's still my art? All I'm asking for is how do you envision in your head that they are supposed to do that? Are they supposed to come out? Are they supposed to put it on their website? Are they supposed to say, hey, I'm responsible for this? That's the part I'm asking for.
It says parental advisory. They put a stamp.
And that's Tyra, thank you for saying that, because that's exactly where I was headed. If you're old enough, right, if you are old enough, you remember a time when there was no parental advisory sticker at all.
It doesn't matter either way. A kid's gonna look. That makes a kid want to look at it more.
So listen. Right. So here's my point as far as the consumer responsibility.
I'm just saying.
Right, but this is the consumer responsibility part of that, is that even with that sticker there, I still went and copped SWV's album. Big whoop, hid it under my bed. My mother didn't know. Oh well.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
talk about Rain on Me. You know what that was about. Y'all know what that was about.
Okay.
The weather.
Didn't know then. But at the end of the day, I still had been taught enough from wherever. I don't even care if it was from my parents. I don't care if it was from my teachers. I don't care. Whatever influences I had at the time, I had enough in me not to go out and do some stuff. I just had that enough. Is that everybody? Now, wait. Is that everybody's reality? No, it's not. And I get that.
And that, right, Donnie, when you say it's like everybody's reality, and that's where, and I agree with you, and that's why my point comes in, that everybody doesn't have that reality. And a lot of people who come from the neighborhood that these artists are coming from don't have that,
what is the artist supposed to do about that?
That's what I was going to say next. You can't, at no point have I said I want rappers to go out there and walk around and say don't do drugs. I never said none of that, because this is the thing, because a lot of times too, a lot of these rappers are kids themselves. So they come out. If you're a young kid, you get signed. You're 19 years old. You're not necessarily signing up to be a role model. That's not what you got in this for. And there is something too called an artistic license of expression. Like, so you can talk about what you want to. And I have no point saying anybody owes anybody anything. All I'm saying is we can't act like the influence is not real. That's all I'm saying.
That's so vague. That's so vague, though. It's vague.
It's vague, but everything doesn't have to be quantum physics, though. Some things are just what it is.
Okay, hold on.
This is my thing.
Hold on. So if I'm Jay-Z and I say, did Hov tell you to sell drugs? No, Hov did that. So hopefully you have to go through that. Okay, that's acknowledgement. That's acknowledgement. Okay. So now what? After he said it. So now what? Okay, now what? What? It's like, okay, he said it.
It is. Okay, so prime example. My fault. I'm gonna go. So two examples. Like every single time we have these discussions all year long, and now the topic is here, and we're acting like it's not there. We talk about artists cooning. Don't play a particular role. Don't sell the community out. This influence is real. How can you coon if you can't have an influence? Why can't I get on here and play whatever I want to, put whatever I want to, wear blackface because it's just art. Blackface is art, right? So let's just let's
just make it real simple.
It's an influence.
Well, let's just make it real simple. Why are we concerned? Why are we hiding CDs under the bed if they have no influence? Why are we wait, from our parents? Why is there parental advisory? Why can't
Trevor, you just
well, no, it's for a very simple reason. It has a profound influence on the culture that cannot be denied. It is what it is. Just like we changed the way the world dresses, we changed the way the world talks, we changed everything, and we also have an influence when things are going negative in the community. I'm saying that we're in a diplomat town. I'm listening to the music, but I can't act like it doesn't have responsibility. That's not a real thing. Listen, and consumer responsibility is not real for a 14-year-old kid in Harlem living with his grandma. That's not real.
I don't want to sound dismissive.
But he's 14.
Hold up.
He's not you.
Exactly. I don't want to sound. Hold up. I don't want to sound dismissive. Listen, I don't want to sound dismissive. But everybody is not. Hold up. But I am. Everybody's not gullible. Everybody's not gullible. I'm sorry. Everybody's not gullible. I didn't put on a G unit.
Okay, Walter.
I'm not gullible.
Walter, can I ask you a question about a certain
artist? That's not reality.
Well, I have a question about
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Drew. Oh, no, Tyra. Go, Tyra. Okay. Tyra, you go. Go ahead, Tyra.
Okay. This is my point. Instead of focusing so much on what is the influence of hip hop and, you know, them being these big role models, like, it's so many other people who can be in that place as a role model. Like, it's so many different people who can influence your child in a great way. Why are we focusing on these celebrities who most of them don't give a damn about your child? They don't care if your child is shooting up heroin. They don't care if your child is smoking weed. But it's actually people who do care in the community about what your child is doing. If you focus on that instead of focusing on what these celebrities doing, what?
So if
thank you.
But see, listen. So it's being split as if hip hop only has a negative influence. We are here getting we are here getting views every week talking about music because it has influence. BMOC wanted to chase his dream, I'm assuming, because at some point he talks about Missy Elliott being a huge influence. So if Missy was just entertainment, like, we talk about this every day and now we want to run from it. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Hold up. No, he mentioned Missy. Let me say one thing. No, hold on. Let me say one thing. What did it shot specifically to you, brother? Okay. Number one. I got 4 bars for you for the cipher. That's number 1. I got 4 bars for you. Number 2, I think we're talking about 2 different things. Okay. Right. We could probably all agree that on some level, music affects the youth, right? I think we can all agree on that. I think we're talking about 2 different things. I think we're talking about, first of all, how does every single entertainer account for the responsibility of their art? And number 2, what do we do about it if they don't do it? That's the 2 areas. So we all could agree that yes, at some point, art affects life in a positive light or a negative light. Now that we've all addressed that, and that we all know that, how in the world are you going to police every single entertainer that your child comes to counter to?
You can't.
You can't do it.
You only police negative, so that's how you police, because you spent the negative again. It can be positive or negative, so we don't have to police it. You talk about, and the original question was, how do you acknowledge it, and then what do you do? But let's not say you have to police it, because now you put us in a box and say we got to police all the negative going on.
So what do you do?
So what do you do? Deshaunus, you're cool.
Yes.
So you're cool with you're cool with somebody making a song that's bad and then turning around and saying, "But I'm good though. I'm a good person."
It happens all the time.
No. I'm not asking what happens. I'm not asking what happens all the time. I'm asking Deshaunus, you're cool with that?
Yeah. Totally okay with that being an art form, which you saying, look, I made a track, right? So prime example, if I wanted to make a track and sing an R&B song about making love, and then I get into an interview, people say, oh, how do you feel about that? I said, me personally, I'm a Christian. I would like to be able to wait till marriage, but I didn't. I'm not perfect. Or people that play promiscuous roles. Megan Good has to defend herself all the time and talk about her walk because people see the role she's in. So if you're telling me, do I want an artist once they get to the interview and the brass tacks to be real? I do. Because if you are an artist and then you get in the interview off the screen and this kid's really out of you, like, nah, man, this is who I am 100% of the day, kill, steal, and rob. I have no, then yes, you're being, you don't have to.
But wait a second, you're assuming. Right, but you're assuming that one
so they lying to kick it.
Wait, but you're assuming that one kid saw that one interview.
Thank you. That's a lie. That was my major point. Hold on. No, Deshaunus. No. My thing is this. we talked before about, I think Drew mentioned Jay-Z, about how Jay-Z became big because he shows you both sides of the game, right? He shows you the high life and shows you the low life, right? But we are assuming that the kid that heard that one song about him selling drugs also heard the song that he said about the consequences of not doing it. We don't know. But my thing is, we don't know. So it's so what is the solution to it? What's the solution?
That's the thing. But Walter, what is, like, there doesn't have to be a solution. This one I'm a little confused because
that's why I asked if there was a problem in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's kind of like where is it? What's the end goal here? Because we were not saying that, we all can agree that music has some sort of influence, and
right.
We all agree on that. But I don't think anybody here is really saying that nobody has to go out and do something to change the world either. We acknowledge that there are inconsistencies. There's different, like Tupac and Nas, for instance, have always been two MCs that always got criticized for, like Jay-Z says, Uchi Wally Wally is a Black Girl Lost, because you see different parts of the scope. And it doesn't make you an inconsistent person or anything like that. It's just that song, Black Girl Lost, can be influential, and Uchiwali can too. It's different parts of life. Nothing is the same every single day. You see different kind of people, and there's different influences, and you have to just kind of filter through it.
Drew, you just said it. You just said it.
Are they responsible for your child?
But Drew Drew, you just said it. You just said what I've been saying. You have to filter through it. That's all I've been saying. You have to.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're not wrong.
Right.
We never disagreed on
that. This is my thing. When you say a responsibility, right? When you say hip hop's responsibility, that to me, when I hear responsibility, that means there's an accountability.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if we're saying that hip hop artists aren't being accountable, then I'm asking, then what is the solution? Because here's a couple things. So there's no solution. There's no accountability. Then we're good. We're good.
Here's a couple things. So one, I think where the big disconnect is, I think the ladies are talking from an aspect of a responsible 30-something. That's
I gave examples from when I was a teenager.
You attacked from a 30-year-old. No.
Okay, go finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
We keep talking about like 2-parent households and accountability. Those are the things you guys are speaking on. We're like, well, so your parents don't let them. That's not real for a lot of these people who the subject of this conversation is about. We're not talking about a kid who has it all. Man, it has the most influenced people are the people who are searching for something. So
wait a second, that's not fair to say.
That's a reach.
The most influenced people are people who are searching for something. That's a reach.
No, wait a second. No. It's not. No, it's a reach because you're assuming that because somebody has. No. Let me first of all, I wrote this down too that I needed to clarify something I said earlier about the 2-parent household. The only reason I brought that up is because it's my reality. My point to you is this: when you keep saying, "Oh, that's not real. That's not reality. That's not yours," or "That's not somebody else's."
That was my reality.
Wait a second. Wait. Okay, so that's your reality as well. But you're saying and speaking about a group that, first of all, when we started this conversation, we did not define at all like that.
Which we should have.
Maybe we should have. But we definitely didn't.
Maybe. Okay, maybe.
Right. But I'm gonna be honest
about like 30-year-old responsible people.
No, we're not. But we're not. No, but we're not. Wait a second though, we're not, because guess who's also buying this music is not just the individuals who are in that category you're talking about. The people that are actually getting these folks paid are not the people that you're talking about. But the reason that
everybody has it.
Hold on, no, Trevor. It's not like you're judging them. It's not like you're judging them, Trevor. You can't judge people, Trevor.
I got a question.
Hold on, quick, Drew. You can't say they're not thinking like responsible 30-year-old people. You can't say that.
I want to say something though.
You can't say that because
So you're saying it seems like they're talking from a perspective of the people who are most influenced by the music.
Trevor, what I'm saying is you can't judge them. We had a voting episode where we talked about being knowledgeable of the voting system, right? And I can say because somebody know about who to vote for that they're being irresponsible as a 30-year-old. So you can't, and they knew it, and you didn't. So you can't judge them because they have a different opinion on something. That's a judgmental statement. We all have different areas of life that we are concentrated on. So just because they're disagreeing and saying that we need to police our children instead of policing entertainers, that's not being not responsible roles. That's what we do.
That's not. I got a question.
That's it. That's my response. My back. Go ahead, Drew.
Real quick. Drew's gonna get his question, and then we're gonna go to BMOC. We're gonna go to BMOC because we got to get like final thoughts from everybody so we can wrap up soon. So Drew,
we're going to 11:30. 11:30. I'm tight.
No. We ain't got time for that. Go ahead, Drew.
We're going to 11:30. I don't care. We're going to 11:30, y'all. If they would have leave, I'm gonna be here till 11:30. 11:30. Go ahead, Drew.
By yourself.
Are there any songs?
First of all, it is BMOC TV, so I'll be on this until 11:30 tomorrow night. How about that?
Yeah, I'm drinking my cheap stuff today.
How about that? I'll pull a Ray. Okay. Go ahead, Drew.
Well, just real quick, the initial question was about, in reference to leading up to this, was the Kendrick Lamar line. And I think it's really good right now because we have two women on the show to get thoughts on specifically what Kendrick said.
Oh, we did
you
that.
Guys feel like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Drew,
yeah.
It's okay, Drew.
Drew smoothed it down.
Repeat it.
No. You already talked about it. We not doing that.
Okay, that's right. My bad. I forgot about that.
Drew, we touched on that. But this is what we're saying. We're all saying it. We're all saying the same thing. We're just all saying it differently. You know what I'm saying? We're saying.
Walter, we're not all saying the same thing.
I agree.
I was trying. I tried.
So I think there's still
go ahead, Shot.
There still seems to be some debate about the level of influence and responsibility of hip hop.
There isn't. No, there isn't. We've addressed it already.
You're putting them together. Here's the problem. We're putting them together.
I said both.
No. But here's where the problem is coming in. I think this is where we are having divides. Personally, Donita, influence and responsibility are two separate things. I think that yes, the music and the art influences everybody in some. Wait.
Let her get a bars off, man.
Reality, okay. Let me finish my reality.
Go ahead, Donita.
In all honesty, the influence is there. I agree completely. Drew has said many statements I agree with. Deshaunus, you have as well. Trevor even said a few things I agree with. The influence is there. The responsibility part is the part where, again, I think as a consumer, the only thing I can control on this planet is myself and my child a little bit. And I say a little bit because there will come a day where she will be of a sound mind to make her own choices.
Thank you.
To make her own decisions.
Thank you.
My responsibility is to myself to make a decision of, hey, I heard Lemonade the other day, and I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. Boom. Now what is the consequence from that?
You have yellow on. You have yellow on.
Ready to deal with that.
Spoken like a mature 30-something-year-old.
Okay, and fine.
Right,
Let me speak like a
young children who are influenced by the music. We're talking like adults in 30.
Okay, fine, Trevor. At 14, maybe I was a little mature, but I decided at 14 I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't going to have sex. I wasn't going to do X, Y, and Z because I wanted to go off to college. I made that choice.
Right.
Because what? Right. The influences of my parents, the things I learned in school, whatever else. I, at 14, made that choice. I didn't do anything. Boom. I still listened to all the music, still heard everything else that was going on, had friends who were off getting pregnant, had friends doing X, Y, and Z. I didn't do that. So now you're telling me my reality isn't real, though?
Exactly.
That was my reality.
Exactly. Go ahead, Donita. Go ahead, sister girl. Go ahead, Deshaunus.
So here we got to bridge what we're saying, right? So we got to bridge this. Like, you got, like I understand what Walter Donita is saying. Like, you guys keep coming from the responsibility pieces of like,
Deshaunus, we lost you. He's like T-Pain cutting off auto-tune just now.
Am I good now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You're good now.
Okay.
You're good now.
So we talk about, this is what you have to do, right? We talk about one of the hottest rappers in the region right now for Sacramento is Mozzie. Mozzie is from a neighborhood in Sacramento called Oak Park, which is like the biggest blood neighborhood in Sacramento. He rivals with Meadowview, another big neighborhood. Time Mozzie drops music, he talks about real life stuff. Like I'm talking about naming names, like I dropped this, like we talking about his art is also reflecting what's going on in the streets. It's not a coincidence that when Mozzie drops and Lavish D, the opposing rapper, dropped, and they've been feuding only over music because one's been locked up. Bodies have dropped in Sacramento every time because people feel a responsibility to back them rappers because they're from the hood. So we can talk about all the decisions that could lead to better decisions, or we can talk about what Trevor's saying, reality. So eventually we have to look at the history and the facts that people are influencing and have to have responsibility. So if I'm Mozzie and I understand that people are out here tattooing Mozzie Gang, that are throwing my sign up, that are out here dropping people because of my music, I'm talking about what's going on, I can't get on an interview or in a record and say, you know what? I mean, I talk about it and I talk about all this and I have my connections, but you know what? At the end of the day, they got a parent or grandparent at home, so I have no responsibility. Yeah. Not sole responsibility, but not even a fraction. We're talking about having some responsibility.
It's on the consumer.
In it. It's on you. It's all on you.
It just sounds so unrealistic. It sounds so unrealistic, guys. It really does. It really does. Go ahead, Tyra. I feel you. Go ahead, Tyra.
Okay. Reality. Okay. I have 3 siblings. 4 of us. We are 4 different people. One of us, a successful doctor. One of us, a successful lab manager. Mind you, we are in a 1-parent household. Single parent, single mother. 3rd child, brother, went to prison for selling drugs for 5 years. 4th child did great, but is not, like the best for me. I would say, she can do better, my sister. But the person that went to jail listens to hip hop the least. So it's not just hip hop holding that responsibility. So you can't say like, oh, this person is going to, listen. I love trap music. I probably know more trap music than any of my siblings. And I'm like the scariest one in the whole household. I don't do anything. I've never smoked weed. I've never done anything. I'm scared of the police. I've never even got suspended from school. So like to say that it's responsible, I think is crazy and it's asinine. My brother was just bad. He was just bad.
One quick question. Just a quick question, Tyra.
Responsibility from that.
We have to wrap up the Shawners, so I don't know if you can get your question off.
One quick question for her. Sorry about it. One quick question. So that's what I'm saying. It's easy for you. I listen to all this trap music and I didn't smoke weed or do drugs or shoot people. Fine. But let's talk about like if you picked up any dances, if you picked up any fashion, if you picked up the way you talk or the language you use, it's an influence. We gotta stop going just to killing people and smoking weed and doing drugs. I didn't do that, so I wasn't influenced. We dance, we wear hats.
But we're not talking about the influence. We're
negatively influenced.
The word's that on the title.
For how these people come out. That's the
positively or negatively. We're only using negative. That's a sided interview.
We're talking about yes.
No, we didn't.
But we said that we did. It's influential, but I'm not holding hip hop responsible for my brother doing 5 years in prison.
We never said it's solely responsible
because he did that. He sold the drugs, and he don't even listen to hip hop like that.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Just saying.
If hip hop is not responsible, Walter. If hip hop is not responsible, are you where you are without hip hop? Are you where you are without hip hop?
Yes.
Because is it responsible?
Yes.
Are you having a career?
Yes.
How? If hip hop exists, how do you do what you do? How do we have this show?
Yes.
Tell me how.
Yes. It's pretty simple. Okay. The first thing. Hold on. Let me explain to it. It's pretty simple. Okay. Hip hop is a facet of hip hop culture, right? A culture that I'm a part of, right? But hip hop hasn't been the only influence in my career, okay? Sure. Right. The first projects I got assigned to when working in the industry wasn't hip hop at all. Like my first major internship was at Sirius XM. At Sirius XM, I was working with Howard Stern. I was working with like completely rock.
I don't like Howard Stern.
No, but I'm just saying, like rock music person. That Sirius XM internship landed me my first other internship, which I was dealing with rock and pop. I didn't even get to hip hop music until like the last 5 years of my career. So like you can't. So what I'm saying is like to ask me that somebody who's lived my life, you can't tell. Hold up, right? Point blank. But you can't tell me what was influential in my success when you haven't lived my life.
I asked you. I didn't tell you. I asked you.
Right. But I'm answering you. That's what I'm saying. So I love hip hop as my favorite music of all time. But that hip hop music in itself was not a part of me building the career that I have now. It's a part of my career now because I've chosen to focus on hip hop. I've chosen to focus on hip hop artists now. But in the beginning of my career, in the beginning of that, I'm telling you that's my life. You can't tell something that doesn't make sense. I'm telling you. If you want to answer to a question, you gotta hear me. I'm telling you. At the beginning of my career, I wasn't dealing with hip hop artists. I love hip hop music. But I can't pinpoint a line and say, oh yeah, well that line, that Jay-Z line, maybe apply for internship. Or that line, maybe pick Johnson Smith University. Or that line, maybe pick going to ESPN. It's a wide range of different things. We're talking about a responsibility. The title of the show isn't influence in hip hop. It's about the responsibility of hip hop. And that's what we have to get to. So hold up. So when we say responsibility, we're talking about accountability. And my question to you is, how do we hold every entertainer accountable for their actions if they're responsible? And the answer is you can't. So what can you do? You can police your own kids. You can be a positive influence in your community. You can offset what kids are seeing on TV. That's the title of the show. The title isn't influence. Everything has influence. Me seeing somebody with a snapback that I like on a TV show is influence. We're talking about a responsibility, and you have to be responsible for your actions. So if something influences you, positive or negatively, it is your responsibility to pick which choice you're going to choose. That's what we're saying. So if you're not providing a solution, and we're still going to consume hip hop music that's negative and positive, it's impossible for you to police every entertainer. Because there was a kid, we're wrapping this up now. There was a kid in my 3rd grade class who shot himself. He isn't black, he isn't white. He's an Asian cat, liked, action movies, liked the Terminator, liked Rambo, found a gun from his dad and shot himself, trying to do the RoboCop thing where you spin the gun around your finger. Right? He shot himself because he was influenced by a RoboCop movie. Right. So my question to you is, how do we hold RoboCop responsible for a kid finding a gun in his father's closet that wasn't locked, that was unsafely locked, with bullets in it, that he spun around imitating a movie and shot himself? How can you pick apart and assault who's accountable for that entire situation? Is the kid responsible for not touching his dad's gun? Is the dad responsible for having a gun in his house to protect his family? Is RoboCop responsible for spinning a gun around his finger to sell millions of dollars? Like is Universal Studios responsible for putting out a movie? It's a tough thing. So all you really can do is
RoboCop in jail.
Right, it's be a parent. It's being a parent to your child. And hold up, and if your child is not in a 2-parent household or if they're whatever, then that's a bigger issue of the systematic situations that happen in our community. So if you're not a part of a 2-parent house, I wasn't a part of a 2-parent household, or if you're a foster home or orphan, those are other situations that have other different factors. So we can't even tackle all those issues tonight in one show. Some of those kids that are selling drugs don't even have a TV to watch a music video. Some of these kids don't even have the money to punch it. Hold up. But my thing is, some of these kids in our era didn't even have the internet to even see how to freaking hold a gun and still shot themselves or was on dope. You had Ray Charles. He couldn't even Ray Charles couldn't watch a movie on doing dope. Ray Charles was blind in the bathroom, tying his arm up, sticking stuff down his veins. Like, come on, like. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And for every example that you give to talk about how they weren't influenced, we can give one that was. But here's the point, and I'll start with the wrap up. And I'll start with the wrap up. I appreciate that. So all we're saying is this in the end. It's that they have the influence, and we do because we try to hold people responsible all the time, and we got away from this. I mentioned how upset we get when people do things that we feel are counterproductive. when people are doing Kuna, when people are endorsing Donald Trump, when people are talking about certain things in a song, and we'll get on here and say, I didn't like what they talked about in that song. Like, we all exhibit the behavior of people who feel like hip hop and the culture has a responsibility. But then when the question's asked directly, we move away from that. So
we're talking about two different things. You're not staying on topic. When somebody
and that's their personal decision to endorse Donald Trump.
When somebody meets Donald Trump in a hotel lobby, that is not a song they're putting out. You're talking about two entirely different things. You're talking about the art platform. You're talking about the art platform and what they do outside of the music. Those are two entirely different things we're talking about.
No. We're in the era where the lifestyle is part of the music. So that. Like, we're separating stuff that we know goes together. Like,
exactly.
We don't know.
You don't know. They're going to do something. They're going to do something. You don't know. You don't know.
Assumptions that you can't even really have conversations. That simple assumptions can't be made.
No, but that's an assumption. I can say that you're wrong. That's an assumption.
In fairness, the episode doesn't say, does hip hop albums or CDs? No, it's the culture. This is all part of the culture. Part of the culture is you being an artist in your brand. So let's not try to act like it's just on wax, because it's beneficial for your side of the argument to say, let's just talk about what happens on wax. It's part of how you carry yourself outside, like you just talked about with Tupac. Everything comes about. We just talked about this. But now
you brought him up. I didn't. You brought him up. I didn't. You asked me about Tupac. I didn't. You brought him up. I didn't. So I thought
you brought up what Tupac did outside of his music, and then you said, well, what Kanye did outside of his music.
No. You're wrong. The Shawners brought up Tupac and asked me about him. I didn't bring up Tupac. You guys did.
No. I'm talking about your response. We're talking about your answer. I'm not talking about your answer. Your answer was with Tupac. You had a problem with what Tupac did off of camera. Well, we're just talking about wax. Well, then we can have an issue with Kanye did off camera.
That's fine. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
How are they not one and the same?
And here's what doesn't make sense. Here's what doesn't make sense. So you spoke about in previous episodes the influence that Tupac had negatively in the East Coast, West Coast big. The influence with individuals, adults and minors, taking violence against each other. And you spoke about how his actions out of music caused that. He doesn't have an influence out of music globally without music. That's why you can't separate them. Tupac stumping somebody out in Vegas is nothing if he's not one of the biggest selling artists of all time. So let's stop the nitpicking with saying, oh, it's just on wax, or what you do outside of wax doesn't matter what's on wax. It's all mutually exclusive. That's why the influence and responsibility are just like a parent is responsible for a kid, not just because they birthed them, but because you have a lot of contact. Your school, the school you send your kids to, has a responsibility, not just because they watch them, but because you have a lot of contact. So when you have an influence, you have contact, and you have influence over someone, you then have some sort of responsibility. So all I'm saying in the end is that you don't have to do all these great things, because I don't think you have to be greatly responsible. You have to be a responsible parent either. You just have to acknowledge that there's a responsibility for people out there in music and the hip hop culture, whether that be positively, whether that you're becoming the next Jay-Z and you want to be a mogul, and the way you
we already said that. My thing is, we asked you. We asked you
from school. You can't block parenting, but you can block music.
We asked you a half an hour ago. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now what? And y'all can't give an answer. Like y'all can't give an answer.
We gave an answer a lot of times. What do you mean?
I said y'all did not. I said 30 minutes ago. We can all agree that there's influence from entertainment. The topic is responsibility in hip hop entertainment. So my question to you guys is, how can we hold entertainers accountable if they're responsible in hip hop? That's what I'm asking.
Sure. If there's an influence, then you should. Then as anything, you need to be cognizant of that. And so when things happen in the community and cultures you're in, you can't step back and say you didn't have something to do with it. You got to be able to say, man up and say you did. And I'll tell you, people do. I was watching Dame's Hip Hop Motivation about 2 weeks ago, and Dame flat out said, he's like, yeah, man, what I was doing has an influence on the culture. And he said, one of the reasons why I'm out the music game is because, I have daughters now, and I know the stuff that I'm around and the music that I was releasing and the memos I around had an influence on the culture in my daughters. Now, is that not real too? Is that a fake thing or what?
No.
Trevor.
It has an influence.
So Trevor, after Dame says, yeah, I'm responsible, now what? It's like
he doesn't do music anymore. He doesn't do music.
Because
he doesn't do music.
No, the reason why Dame said no.
Don't assume. We said we can't assume. Don't tell me.
No, I haven't said anything yet, Trevor. I haven't said anything yet.
Okay.
I haven't said anything yet. It's easy for somebody who's out of the game, who stopped selling units to say, I don't do this because of something, right? Oh,
also we're assuming he's lying because we said we can't assume stuff.
I'm not saying anybody's lying about anything. I'm saying that Dame Dash came out with an album last year and it didn't sell. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that Dame Dash put out an album last year and it didn't sell. I'm telling you in 2015, he had an album put out by Currency that did not sell. Currency sued him. They went bankrupt and he can pay back Currency. I'm telling you actual factual. I'm telling you that sometimes Dame Dash is a master of saying things he doesn't want because he can't get it anymore. That's what I'm telling you. So yeah, that's the truth. No,
that's 2 years ago.
No.
Yes.
Dame Dash put out an album, put out a movie called, it was some Spanish name with Murder Mook in it. It's a 5-minute movie of somebody getting their brains blown out. That's the last project, and he wanted Kanye to produce it. It's online. It's like we're listening to Dame Dash, he's a smart cat. But a lot of times Dame Dash will talk about things that he isn't doing anymore because the industry blackballed him, so he's making a reason why he doesn't do it anymore. Like, you can't use that as a litmus for this conversation.
So you can't possibly just one out. That's not possible.
You said what?
You can't possibly just one out too. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore. Is it possible he wants out?
Well, you can't sell a product. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it anymore either. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm too real for the industry. That's why I'm not selling records. Yeah, okay. Sure, fam. I believe you. Okay, great. If Dame Dash can sell a blockbuster movie right now with Kanye, like he was planning to do, the last time he was on a major platform on BET, he's shouting out Kanye saying, let's do a movie together, and it doesn't work, then yeah, I don't want to be a part of the movie industry either. Because you can't get in. You can't make it happen. So it's a 40 laws of power. You say things to the public that you don't want when you want them to make you not look like you're taking a loss. That's natural human stuff. Like, you can't use Dame for that. I'm sorry.
That's possible. Or he can not do it no more.
Because he's put out projects since then. That's what I'm telling you. If Dame doesn't want to be a part of the music industry, stop putting out albums.
This was a month ago. This was a month ago.
Okay. So at February he had an epiphany that the album didn't sell last year. It's not out of the music.
You gotta stop at sometime.
Cool. Okay. Dave hasn't sold the album since 2009.
So listen.
Where'd you buy that hat, Trevor? Where'd you buy that hat? Did you buy that hat during Dipset was out?
Yeah, I bought it a month ago.
Okay, well, that's what Dame decided he didn't want to be part of the business.
So listen.
Go ahead, Jonas.
So my fault. Go ahead, Drew, because Drew's having mic. I'll let Drew go first.
Oh, my bad, Drew. Go ahead, Drew. We'll wrap up.
Well, I think it's hard.
Go ahead.
It's hard to police every single actor and singer and rapper, to be accountable for things they put out. And I think what happens is, because Walter, you mentioned before, like the networks and labels and stuff like that. And I think what they've done is they've taken on that role as the filter, because parents can't always do it. Artists can't be held accountable for everything. So that's how you get TV ratings. That's how you get movie ratings. That's how you get companies like you get an Xfinity or Comcast or AT&T to put certain blocks up. Like I think they've been used as the vehicle to be the responsible party and making sure people see and hear the right things and not the artists, because they're making money off these controversial things, so they're not going to necessarily silence their artists or stop making certain pictures because it makes money. So I think that responsibility doesn't necessarily fall on the parents or anything. I think more so it goes to networks and the studios and things like that, because they're the ones who have the main power, who can filter what people can see.
You know what, Drew? I want to say one last thing. We're going to wrap up. Somebody in the chat said that too. I think it was Toby. He said that record labels should provide a balance, right? So when you talk about record labels and networks, you have to understand how a network and a record label works. The problem is a lot of people say what companies should do, but they don't know how they operate. So I can tell you right now that the biggest artists that have been signed in the past 2 or 3 years were signed based upon their viral buzz, right? And their viral buzz comes from the people. Before the labels get it, labels are late. Labels are the last of the party, right? So if you have somebody like Trinidad James, who's able to, crowdsource, get money to support his project, shoot a music video, get 1 million views, get fans to come out to his shows, a label is going to come and say, you know what? I like this guy, let's sign him because the people are liking him or whatever, right? So his influence was already happened before a label was involved. If you have a show like The Is a Show, right? The Is a Show, and that gets popping on YouTube, right? And people or any other webisodes, and they get up enough buzz, and people like them, and the fans start to like it, and networks then get involved and put a show like Is Up on a network. So a lot of times, these artists and shows are being put on platforms because the people themselves have been attracted to it. It's like our group, our Facebook group. I can have a positive post that says, you know what, give me your favorite moment in a concert. And maybe 10 people will comment, including all of us. If somebody says, you inbox me some, then it's 1,000 comments, right? so then somebody says, oh, well, people aren't engaged because there isn't a lot to engage with. Well, I'm like, no, there's been 10 positive posts. Sean put a positive post, Lita put a positive post, but you don't focus on the positive post. You focus on the negative. That is a basic human need to focus on the negative. This is before the TV industry was invented, before there were record labels, before there were slave ships, before there were plantations, before there were cities created. People focus on drama. Drama is a human instinct.
That's why love and hip hop exists.
Exactly. So I don't care how you package it. I don't care how you package it. And if it's flipped, if a label or a network is creating something that's negative, what happens? People still watch it. So do people really want what they're talking about? People say they love Jasmine Sullivan. People say they love Talib Kweli. People say they love these people, but they don't purchase them. And they say they hate Future, but somehow Future goes gold every time he comes out. They hate Beyonce, but sometimes she's gold. So it's like the people need to match up to their actions. Whether it's whether it's the label creates it, or the label signs it, or the network, or the network creates it, or the network broadcasts it. Once it's out, what do we do about it? Well, that is my main point of this entire conversation. Once it's there, then what? Watching the show, it gets canceled. Once we stop buying Trinidad James, he got dropped. Once we boycott this, it gets that. That's what happens. We are the people who control everything, and we have to stop giving our power away of pointing to labels and big corporations when we're the consumers are putting them in their seats. They don't make money if we don't watch. They can't create advertising dollars if we don't watch the TV shows or if we don't purchase the music. So we as people have to say that. And until that happens, until one day the humanity doesn't want drama anymore, doesn't want negativity anymore, that's when things will change. But until then, it will always be profitable. Always. In every facet of life, negativity somehow finds the spotlight over positivity. That's always been the case. That's always what it is. That's just how it is. It's how it is. I'm sorry. That's how it is.
All right.
So what we have to do, all we can do is be the best citizens we possibly can, and hope that we're the best examples of ourselves, and that the community sees what we do, and we please our children. That's the only thing that we can do. I can't look at Jay and tell Jay to put out 8 positive records for 8 negative records. I can't do it. So let's wrap this up. Deshaun, any last words?
Yeah, and so you asked a very direct question, which I did answer, but I'll talk about it again, is that I think that influence and responsibility are kind of mutually exclusive. So I do think that I think they can be separated. And what you can do is if you understand that you have influence and responsibility over certain situations, is that just what you have, right? So if I'm an artist, like I mentioned Mozzie in Sacramento, if I'm an artist in Sacramento, I can rap about a whole lot of things. I can't rap about going to Meadowview, the rival hood, and shooting and do it's my responsibility to make sure I pull back on certain things that I rap about and using particular names of rival people in the neighborhood because I have an influence in my area. And I'm pretty sure we understand this because I see the way everybody on this panel carries themselves. And we carry ourselves a certain way in this panel and everywhere we go, even on social media, because we understand influence and responsibility. And so I don't want to get away from that because I think everybody here understands that. Now we can cape for rappers and entertainers all day long and say what they don't have to do. But I can tell by the way we carry ourselves that we understand there's a responsibility, whether it be to our own children or just the community in general. So what you can do about it is make sure where your level of influence is, then that's just what you have to watch. It ain't the same for everybody. It ain't the same. Beyonce's level of influence and Future's ain't the same. They got to filter different stuff. Beyonce has children. She may not be able to say certain things that maybe another person that doesn't, or vice versa. Whatever your influence and responsibility is to you as an artist and a person, then you own that. But we can't try to separate and act like if I'm talking about violence in Sacramento and I'm the biggest artist in Sacramento and there's violence happening in those hoods directly, that I have nothing to do with that because the violence was there before me. It was there before me, but I'm adding to it, which makes me responsible, even if it's just 1%. Thanks for watching.
You can't prove it.
Okay.
Donita, any last words?
You want to prove it? So looking at this.
Oh, and by the way, I saw the stuff. Nobody's taping for artists. Okay, nobody's taping for anybody. Okay?
Not a one.
You can't rebuttal on closing, man. You can't be rebuttaling my closing, man.
I'm not rebutting it. I'm transitioning. It's all transition.
I can't wait till next week. Oh, I can't wait till next week.
Deshaun, I've written already. I'm gonna play with your name so terrible.
Pause.
I'm gonna play with your name so terrible. I'm play with your name so terrible.
Okay. All right.
Okay, first of all, time. Don't give me with okay. And Donita got the say my name background with the shirt matching. What's going on? Y'all see the Say My Name video?
Say my name.
With the outfit matching background. That's what Donita look like right now.
That is hilarious.
Go ahead, Donita.
That's hilarious. So we had so much happen tonight. First of all, shout outs to my glass of wine because that definitely helped me get through this. And shout outs to my new friend Trevor because I know he probably hates me now.
What? That's life.
But that is life, right? It's my circle of influence. So I will say this though, Deshaunus is right. Your circle of influence, I like that statement, is very quintessential to this entire conversation. Pretty much that's what it boils down to, is those that you can reach, you reach and you try to do the best that you can. However, I'm still on the side of, as a consumer, it's still my job to figure out what my next move is after hearing something, anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be hip hop, but since we're on that subject, if I hear a song, it's my job to decide what I'm going to do next. At the same time, the whole responsibility and influence, I still think they're a little bit separate. Does hip hop influence a lot of things? Absolutely. But the responsibility, I don't land solely on the shoulders of those artists. I do. Walter is so funny. I do.
It's not Anita right now. That's her background.
Hilarious.
Go ahead.
That's you really worked that out. You worked that out real quick.
I did.
Yeah. So as far as the responsibility piece, Deshaunus and Andrew and Trevor, I do want you to hear me on this. Do I think the artist should have some responsibility? Sure, why not? But what does that look like? How are they going to do that? That is still my question. That's still my question on the table. Is that should they? Maybe, but at the end of the day, I can't rely on them. I can't wait for them to feel like they're responsible. So I can only do what I can do and control the circle that I'm in. So I'm seeing people say that they want a part 2 to this conversation in the chat. So Walter, you may want to think about that. But other than that, I just want to say, hey everybody, and y'all be blessed, and we'll see you here next week. You want to be here next week? I'm not joking. Next week is going to be crazy.
Well, no, next week isn't the cipher. Oh,
never mind.
It'll still be crazy though. It'll still be crazy though.
We'll still want to be next week though.
It's gonna be crazy in church because that's Easter Sunday. So
yes.
But the following week is the cipher. You know what I'm saying? So
the church has no influence.
There we go.
I'm absolutely joking because I'm very much saying that, but I'm just saying.
Why do y'all do that? It's like because y'all said one time in another episode, I believe in Illuminati. So Illuminati, like you don't believe any theories now. It's like no.
I saw Joel Osteen. He was really dope. He came to Sac on Saturday.
Here we go.
All right. Okay.
Oh, you said Joel Ortiz? You said Joel Ortiz or Joel?
He said Joel.
I'm like, oh, Joel still getting money out here? That's what's up. I'm waiting for Slaughterhouse for the past 4 years.
That's hilarious.
Tyra, any last words?
Yes, I do think that hip hop is influential. Do I think hip hop is responsible? No, because we have things in life called a block, called parental advisory, call a lot of things to keep your child away from this stuff. And as a mom and as a parent, maybe I think differently, but I don't want nobody raising my child but me. Even when he goes to school, his teacher is responsible for teaching him, but when he get home, I'm going to teach him what the teacher did not teach him and what the teacher missed. So I am his ultimate responsible person, and his ultimate influence will be me.
There we go.
I don't blame hip hop for anything. And if you want to blame Future, just know that Future did get back-to-back Billboard albums. But let me just say it. Just want to throw that.
Can I ask Tyra a quick question?
We're wrapping up comments.
What's the question?
You have to wrap up comments. Don't decide it. Wrapping up comments, man. You have to wrap it up. Sorry, dude.
What's the question?
Drew, sure, last words.
Wait, so he asked me what the question was.
No.
What is it, Deshaun?
Listen, you have to wrap it up, Deshaun. You have to wrap it up. Sorry. Pause. Wait, Drew.
Just make it real quick. 15 seconds.
Okay, Deshaun. One more question, Deshaun. Go ahead, please.
So if your son becomes like a big producer or rapper, are you also taking like credit for that influence too? Because I don't think
I'm taking 100% credit for that. I did that. So you know what? I bought him that keyboard. I paid for them lessons. I showed him. Yep, 100%. He better put me on the payroll. I'm gonna be like, did it, mama? Give me my check. Yep, I did.
Listen.
I raised him.
And Uncle Walter will definitely make sure his contracts are taken care of. His publishing is all good. You know what I mean? I'll make sure.
That's not gonna happen.
I'll make sure. No. These real hands. Trevor, any last words, my brother?
Yeah. The hip hop culture to me is the dopest culture of all time. I mean, like I think about that in Malcolm X when Malcolm was able to have everybody march to the hospital, and then the cop was like, man, no one man should have all that power. He knows how much power it has, right? Because I think we put a lot of barriers on it. Like we influence everything. Like it doesn't stop. I mean, we're talking about globally. We're talking about runways. We're talking about when you see Walter, you've been around, you know, where you see on London streets, where it doesn't matter where you go, man, the hip hop culture is embedded like nowhere else. So that's for sure. So with that comes great responsibility. You can't, in my opinion, you can't separate the two. And then the last thing is, to respond to Daniel, man, it's all love. I enjoy the dialogue. You know what I'm saying? How boring would that be if we all agreed with each other?
I think this is our first time being on a show. I think this is our first show together.
It would be the Hillary episode. Why do you think people agree with?
Yeah.
And I had no problem doing it at all. I don't. I was trying to get her elected. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't apologize. I'm sorry. I don't apologize for it. As you can see, still like, what's the worst Trump can do? Well, now we're at war with Syria. You know what I mean? So, hello. You know what I mean? Drew, any last
we're
word?
gonna be at war with everybody in a minute.
In a short minute, unfortunately. Go ahead. Drew.
Another argument, another day.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's all inclusive. Like I said, we do dictate. Hip hop dictates. Fashion and politics and all these different things. So the good and the bad is all included to me. And like I said, not even just hip hop. Like I was saying before, any music, any voice that's the voice of the youth, whether it's rock or any other genre of music. That's kids look to rebel, kids look for outside influences. When you're adolescents, you're searching to find something that attaches to you, that means sticks to your heart. And so I just, I'm not the person who's out there saying this person needs to do this or that, but it is something that needs to be acknowledged. And then I don't think you can separate the good and the bad with it. It's all inclusive, and that's how I see it. But it is great to talk about because 20 Twitter and all social media has been lit up, the last couple of weeks, with this, with this talk. So it's dope to have, and we're the place you need to come to get the dialogue on it. There's no place
Yes, sir.
in the culture. So holla at us, BMOC. Appreciate the platform. You follow me on Twitter. Brix is King. BRIXX is King.
Follow him.
It's Liddy. It's raw.
He's dropping knowledge. Y'all need to follow
All
Drew
celebrities
on Twitter.
Follow him.
You need to follow Drew on Twitter ASAP right now. So yeah. Shout out to everybody. They said, we have a Cypher episode coming up.
Bars.
On the 23rd and be crazy. Also, a little brief teaser announcement. I am announcing the next Live the Biz event. I will tell you guys, breaking news. I have just signed a partnership with Microsoft.
Oh, snap.
For my next event, not lying, it's major. And I'll tell you exactly what we're going to be doing together for this event in the next few days. So it is Monster Mega. I still own Live the Biz. This is just an event we're doing together, and we'll do more later down the line. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Deshaun, is she gonna pay for my ticket?
The pesos.
Yeah. So yeah.
Come off them pesos, bro.
When you guys see, it's gonna be dope, especially for all of my artists who aren't signed. This is going to be major just for you guys. This isn't the big artists out there. This is just for people who are really trying to get popping. This me and Microsoft put something together just specifically for you guys. So tune into that at Live the Biz. That's it. Keep supporting the show. The show will be moving and grooving some things. We'll talk about that in a few weeks, but still continue to come to this channel for right now. YouTube.com/BMOCTV. This has been a great topic, a great discussion. I appreciate all you guys taking the time out to come on tonight. It's been great. Hopefully you were entertained at home. Okay.
The chat was lit.
It should be. Oh, shout out to Tupac Soldier. It was like the second. I was like, yo.
T.I.
So Tupac
Soldier is T.I.
I cannot.
You see that bustier? You see that corset he had on at the gym?
There you go.
Tupac Soldier.
He had the Selena joint on. He had the itty bitty bubba joint on. Shout out to T.I.
Oh my goodness.
It's a bustier. It's a
bustier, bro. Type of thing. All right, y'all. I'm out. People see. Peace.
Fight the power.